I had a dream not too long ago, and I want to tell you about this dream. When I found myself at Hawaii, more specifically, I found myself near Pearl Harbor. I look around and I can tell it's about 2 days before the attack happens. I've traveled back in time somehow. I can change the outcome of history here. I know I can't stop the airplanes that are on their way, but I can warn people. I can tell them that the attack is coming. So then I set out to try and warn people of the attack. But everything I try is countered by skepticism, doubt, and disbelief. December 7th happens, and Pearl Harbor is bombed. So what was the point of traveling back in time if I couldn't change anything? All I really did was bear witness to what happened. When I awoke, I was frustrated that I couldn't change the event. I couldn't change history. And there was always something preventing this change from occurring. So then I had another dream. In this dream, my brother comes to me in tears. Both his children's lives have been claimed. He's pleading with me, if not begging me, that I have built a time machine. And I have. I tell him, yes, I've built a time machine. We go back in time 200 years, though. And we're at a valley. There's a lot of hills around, very thick grass, too. Very green grass. And there's a tree next to us, and there's a large boulder, and I tell my brother, sit down on this boulder. Because to my left, off a few hundred feet, is a dirt road, and I can see that there's a traveler coming our way. I tell my brother, sit there, I'm going to go over to the traveler. I walk up to the traveler, he looks up at me, and I shove him, I push him down on the ground. My brother stands up. I said, no, sit down, stay over there. I walk backward, and this man is really upset. He's cursing, he's yelling, he's kicking up some dirt at me, and I walk back slowly. I watch him get up, and he just continues on his path. And I walk over to my brother. My brother's like, what the hell was that all about? I'm telling you, don't trust me. Just trust me on this. He's like, no, we were only supposed to go back 1 day in time. And I said, don't worry about it, let's go. So we go back to the future. And we've been gone for a whole day. So my brother is now a little upset. He's like, no, we're supposed to go back 2 days now. At this very point, both of my brother's children come up from the basement. And they're yelling, Daddy, where have you been? You were gone all day yesterday. My brother fell to his knees and started to cry. Both of his children ran up to him and asked him why he was crying. My brother looked up at the faces of his children and reached out and hugged both of them. After I had awoken from the dream, I contemplated the series of events. I knew when to go back in time. I knew where to go back in time. I even knew who I needed to interact with. But what was I changing? How did I know what the difference was between going back in time 1 day versus going back in time 200 years? The difference was temporal inertia. Temporal inertia is the driving force that ensures that events unfold at a certain time and in a certain way. Going back 1 day to save my niece and nephew was equivalent to going back to Pearl Harbor to stop the attack. The inertia had already been established. There was nothing that I could do to change the outcomes. However, everything has a beginning. The inertia had to begin somewhere. So I went back to its beginning 200 years ago, in its infancy. It could still be altered to take a different path to its destination. What makes the difference is choice. I went back to a choice point. In the infancy of its inertia, I chose to do something to elicit an emotional response. How did I know this? That would affect the path of the inertia. I even knew the emotional response that was necessary. I guess now the next question for myself is, how did I know how to trace the inertia to its infancy. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. Maybe that'll come to me in another dream.